Coming up, President Biden says support for Israel and Ukraine is vital and asks Congress for billions.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Thanks for staying up a little later with us. President Biden addressed the American people from the Oval Office tonight, the day after his wartime visit to Israel. CBS's Tina Kraus reports from Tel Aviv.
President Biden delivered a rare primetime Oval Office address focusing on the wars in Israel and Ukraine.
The assault on Israel echoes nearly 20 months of war, tragedy, and brutality inflicted on the people of Ukraine. Making sure Israel and Ukraine succeed is vital for America's national security.
As the president prepares to ask Congress for billions of dollars in military assistance for both countries, he stressed the need to keep money flowing to the U.S. allies. The president's plea comes the day after his 7-hour visit to Israel.
In Israel, I saw people who are strong, determined, resilient, and also angry, in shock and in deep, deep pain.
In Tel Aviv Thursday, sirens wailed, warning again of incoming rockets from Gaza. The fate of more than 200 hostages forced into Gaza during Hamas's October 7th attack remains uncertain. 30 children are among those kidnapped.
As I told the families of Americans being held captive by Hamas, we're pursuing every avenue to bring their loved ones home.
Inside Gaza, water, food, fuel, and medicine are running dangerously low, with the coastal enclave cut off from deliveries.
I'm calling for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire for nearly 2 weeks.
On Egypt's side of the border, trucks carrying aid to civilians could start to move soon after the U.S. helped broker a deal to allow 20 trucks to cross into Gaza. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu rallied forces ahead of an expected ground invasion, telling troops, "We're going to win with full force. Are you ready?"
Yeah!
Yes, they shouted back. Tina Kraus, CBS News, Tel Aviv.
The State Department issued a worldwide alert for American citizens traveling overseas to exercise increased caution because of heightened tensions and concerns of violence against Americans. House Republicans remain at odds over who should be the next Speaker of the House. They met behind closed doors for more than 3 hours today to try and figure out what to do, and emerged in the same place as they began. They are at odds over a plan to temporarily empower Speaker Pro Tem Patrick McHenry to preside over the House. Representative Jim Jordan is the only candidate in the race right now, and he does not appear to be close to getting the 217 votes needed to win. Congress has less than a month to pass a spending bill to keep the government open. Attorney Sidney Powell, a key figure in former President Donald Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election results, has pleaded guilty in a Fulton County, Georgia courtroom. She admits to her role in the breach of voting systems in Georgia. Powell was sentenced to 6 years probation, will pay thousands in fines, and write an apology letter to the citizens of Georgia. Along with Trump, she was one of 19 defendants in the case and has agreed to testify against her co-defendants at future trials. Kim Davis could be on the hook for an additional $250,000. Lawyers for one of the couples she denied a marriage license want her to pay $260,000 in attorney's fees and expenses. That's in addition to the $100,000 a jury last month awarded to David Ermold and David Moore. Davis violated the men's constitutional rights when she denied them a marriage license in 2015. Davis's attorneys told the Lexington Herald-Leader they plan to contest the fee request and appeal the judgment against her.
We are tracking showers to increase across the mountains as we go into tonight. Let's go on a little bit of a radar tour at this hour on First Alert Pinpoint Doppler, and we are tracking some heavier showers right now in the Cumberland Valley, zooming into Pulaski County, also into McCreary County, also some light to moderate showers in Laurel County, into Whitley County, also Knox County as well, and tracking some light to moderate showers in Leslie, also Perry and Breathitt counties, and up to the north over portions of Morgan County, also into Rowan, Menifee County. Watching out for more spotty showers there as well. As we zoom out, still tracking a band of some heavier showers, also some lightning in central Kentucky. The good news for us, no severe weather, but some heavier pockets of showers will be possible as we go into tonight. And those temperatures right now still mild in the upper 50s and lower 60s, and we only fall into the middle 50s as you wake up on Friday, all thanks to clouds, also showers as we go into tonight. And again, it's not going to be a strong to severe weather kind of night, but some heavier pockets of showers cannot be ruled out, and more rain chances on the way for Friday, but some drier and cooler weather by this weekend. All those details coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, maybe some good sleeping weather tonight out there. Thank you, Cameron. For many folks, rebuilding following the July 2022 flood has been a challenge. The Housing Development Alliance has now completed its 16th home, and one family got the keys today in Breathitt County. HDA Executive Director Scott McReynolds says it takes time to get things done, but he's hopeful about the future. Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman was on hand for today's home dedication. Employees at an Eastern Kentucky store are accused of selling mislabeled vape pens to high school students. Prestonsburg police say they received 5 different reports of students at the high school demonstrating overdose-like symptoms. They all required medical attention. The students told police they got the vapes from the Quick Stop Smoke Shop, which was down the street from the school. Police say the shop sold the products to middle and high schoolers under police surveillance. The department executed a search warrant and seized the products. It's been almost 6 years since the deadly shootings at Marshall County High School in Kentucky, and today lawmakers were briefed on action plans put into place since a state law required officers on every campus and mandates regarding locked doors and security measures. The number of police officers working in Kentucky public schools is increasing, but more are needed. Out of 1,000 school campuses, 758 are covered by SROs.
We're still lacking, of course, numbers on our SROs and numbers on our mental health providers. But I do want to go over kind of the numbers for the SROs and mental health providers, because we're not going backwards, we're going forwards, and I think that's very important.
Wilcox also says 20 Kentucky districts have their own campus police forces. Laurel County School District administrators say stop arm cameras have made an impact on bus routes. The cameras were installed at the beginning of the school year. The cameras can capture the front and back of vehicles. Laurel County Schools Transportation Director Rob Hale says they hope the cameras can spark change on the roads.
This will be simply because of citations being sent out to the violators, word of mouth. We're hoping that that will also spread. Of course, we're going to continue to do public service announcements where we make the public aware, whether it be through social media, print, or on the radio.
Laurel County Schools Police Chief Dan Smoot says they started mailing out citations for violations this week. One park in Pike County is honoring a former deputy judge executive for his contributions to the Hardy community. Hardy Park was dedicated to and named for John R. Phillips. WYMT's Madison Carmouche has more.
A new name and a new plaque for a community staple.
It's even going to be hard for me to say, instead of the Hardy Park, it's the John R. Phillips Memorial Park. I'm going to have to get used to that, but I sure am proud to be able to say it.
Folks gathered to celebrate not only the renaming of the park, but how much it has improved in recent years.
The park had fallen into a significant state of disrepair over the years when I came in as judge, and we made a commitment not only to rebuild the park, remodel it. We've made a lot of improvements, still a lot of work to be done.
Krista and Billy McCoy became caretakers of the park to make sure it was not forgotten.
And we've got a commitment from the county, and we've got a commitment from the community, and hopefully we can get this park back to where we can keep not only the park as a vital part of this community, but also as an honor to John R. Phillips.
Phillips' children and grandchildren say that the park was important to Phillips from the time he brought the idea to the county decades ago.
And he came home one day and he said, we're going to build a park at Hardy. And I was in high school at the time.
Even when he was sick and he stopped driving, on the Sundays after church, I would drive him up here and we would look at the park and he would see what needed done and he would go back and make phone calls.
Richie says that having the park named after him was not his father's goal, but he knows that he is smiling down at them from heaven. In Pike County, Madison Carmouche, WYMT Mountain News.
McCoy says her next goal as caretaker is to update the walking trail at the park. A Lexington broadcasting legend in the 1960s, 70s, and 80s has died. Frank Falconer was a pioneer in local television and worked alongside Nick Clooney and others in the formative days of Lexington television. Even after he left television, his unmistakable voice was on radio, including rock and roll station WKQQ. Congressman Andy Barr was his nephew, and he once recognized his great-uncle's career in Washington. Longtime former Lexington reporter Barry Peel remembered Falconer today.
Frank was the ultimate professional. He respected and was deeply concerned about his audience. And he taught all of us who made our living on TV that we were visitors in people's homes every night and to act accordingly. And he would always remind us we're a click on the remote away from being disinvited. Frank was never disinvited.
Good to see Barry again, too. Frank Falconer was 100 years old. In the race for Kentucky governor, we are taking a look at a heated issue, crime. Daniel Cameron is accusing Andy Beshear of lying about crime stats. The governor says the attorney general is taking zero responsibility for the numbers. Kristen Kennedy is looking into the claims.
The governor joined state police at the Capitol this past summer when the agency revealed recent crime numbers. Together, they touted significant drops in violent crimes in the state.
Law enforcement in Kentucky have worked so hard to bring these numbers down from 2021.
Soon after, the Herald Leader reported the crime data exaggerated a drop in homicides. And WDRB reported the numbers coming from the Louisville Metro Police Department were initially incorrect. Attorney General Daniel Cameron talked about it on Kentucky Newsmakers with Bill Bryant.
The state tried to show that there had been a 19% decrease in crime. Turns out that was a lie. There was actually a 12% increase under the Beshear administration.
Cameron is directly referencing Louisville's crime numbers. Statewide numbers from the 2022 Commonwealth of Kentucky Crime Report show a 9.21% decrease in crimes. WKYT looked at all Group A offenses in Kentucky. Those are the most violent of crimes against people or property. And last year, there were close to 222,000. We took a closer look at those crimes in the last 10 years. From 2021 to 22, you're going to see the drop that state police were praising earlier this year. You can see that right here. That is lower than the past 7 years, but they're not down to what they were in 2013. That's the lowest in the last 10 years. Homicide numbers are part of overall crime numbers. They're not down to what they were pre-pandemic. The governor said during a debate at Northern Kentucky University, the pair should share the blame when it comes to high homicide numbers.
The fact that he just tried to blame me entirely for a rise in crime when he's the top cop shows you that he plays the blame game, the partisan game, and doesn't try to come with those solutions.
Now let's take a look at the most common Group A offenses. They don't include homicides because they just make up a fraction of crimes last year, less than 1%. We're talking now about thefts, drug offenses, assault, vandalism, and burglary. Larceny and theft offenses make up the majority here, followed closely by drug and narcotic offenses. If we look at the numbers, larceny theft is on the decline in the past 10 years. Drug offenses were steadily climbing up until 2018, and we saw a small rise during the pandemic in 2021, but that number looks like it's trending down again. Assault numbers are slowly decreasing after building up to the pandemic in 2020. Both vandalism and burglary are declining as well. The Attorney General released his public safety plan back in July. Daniel Cameron wants $5,000 bonuses for law enforcement and a new state police post in Louisville. Then in August, Governor Andy Beshear talked about his priorities in the next budget. They included more pay raises for state police, more training stipends, and upgrading body armor.
Kristen Kennedy, thank you. You'll have a chance to listen to the candidates yourself next Tuesday right here on WYMT. Governor Andy Beshear and Daniel Cameron have both accepted invitations to the Kentucky debate in the WKYT studios in Lexington. You can watch next Tuesday night from 7 until 8. Governor Andy Beshear is supporting workers on the picket line at Kentucky's Ford truck plant. He made a surprise visit yesterday and joined workers on the picket line. The UAW strike began 1 week ago today in Louisville. Workers are demanding higher wages and better benefits. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, the magic of Disney comes to one community college campus.
Plus, we are tracking soggy and breezy weather on Friday. That forecast coming up after this break.